Just quickly, let's run down the score list. Coosa Christian over Galesville, 34-6. Ranburne over West End, 47-19. Westbrook Christian over Gadsden, 48-0. Southside beats Alexandria, 35-14. Sardis falls to Boaz, 42-14. Hoax Bluff over Cleveland County, 49-10. Piedmont over Glencoe, 37-0. Etowah over Douglas, 54-0. Albertville over Lee Huntsville, 24-20. That game was played at 3 o'clock this afternoon, by the way. Cedar Bluff falls to 5, 56-0. Cherokee County easily over Asheville, 54-13. And Collinsville over Asbury, 59-13. And oh, by the way, somebody's got to win. And what a win it was. Gadsden City over Florence tonight, 31-24 in a huge comeback. They were down 21-0 and comes back and breaks now what was a 9-game losing streak dating back to October 5th of last year.
What a huge win for the Titans. That's one I was keeping up with. I was at Southside the night, and that's big, and it comes at a big time. I mean, they're 1-6, but, I mean, playoffs are still right there for the Titans.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, they can sneak in at that 4th spot, so perfect time to get your first win. Obviously, they'd like to have done it sooner, but hey, better late than never.
Yeah, huge win for Gadsden City. Like I said, that puts them still, I mean, you know, we thought earlier, I quite honestly thought they were mathematically out of the playoffs, but with this win over Florence, I mean, things kind of get turned on their heels. So, you know, other big wins tonight, you know, outside of our coverage area, a huge win by Jacksonville over Aniana. They had to come from behind. They score a 2-point conversion with less than 15 seconds left to play. They decide to go for the win, and they get the win to beat Aniana. And then some big upsets around the state. McGill-Tulane loses to Theodore. And then you see Mountain Brook prove that they may be for real in Class 7A, knocking off Hewitt-Trussville tonight. So some really big upsets, not just locally, but even statewide.
You know, we want to thank you for joining us tonight, Mr. and Mrs. Ford, Elizabeth, Wendy, Amy, and Jeremy. Thank you for joining us. We also like to thank Blackstone Pub and Eatery for sponsoring this week's show. Yeah. Located in downtown Gadsden. If you have an ate there, you need to go. It's really good.
It really is, yeah. Where do we want to start, Teddy?
I don't even know where. I mean, I was hearing some of those scores for the first time tonight because we've had a pretty wild night in the office, you know, getting everything done. I mean, man, where do you want to start?
Let's flip a coin. You know, some of the games that kind of went as we expected. One that you know, obviously looking at Hoax Bluff, number 2 in Class 4A, 49-10 over Cleveland County. Darian Meads, again, Mr. Meads is doing what he needs to do, and that's run the ball. This time he decided to take it with big chunks of yardage. He ended up finishing with 401 yards rushing tonight on 17 carries, 3 touchdowns, 89, 60, and 1. And put a cherry on top, he also had a receiving touchdown too. So another big win for Hoax Bluff. They just keep rolling. They are a machine right now, and looking really super strong. Quarterback Aston Gullidge for Hoax Bluff, 4 of 7, 97 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he also, and also, if I'm not mistaken, he ran for a couple as well, did he not?
I believe so. Mr. and Mrs. Ford commented and said Hoax Bluff Meads 401 rushing yards tonight. What a way to break into newly named Mike Robertson Stadium.
Absolutely.
Want to give a shout out to Coach Rob again. We mentioned it,
Congratulations.
For the preview. Much deserved.
Absolutely.
As much as he's done for that, not just football, but in baseball, girls basketball, being an athletic director. You know, the man even drives the bus.
How about
literally drives the bus. So,
right? Yeah.
I mean, great guy, and he deserves it. And what a big win for them. I know they've been kind of coming out slow in these last few weeks. having trouble getting things going, but they did not have a bit of trouble tonight.
No, they didn't. And you know, you kind of wonder if they were looking ahead because, let's be honest, the Hoax Bluff at Cherokee County next week, that's a big game. You know, Cherokee County may not be as successful as they have been, but when those two teams play, throw out the records, it's going to be a war. And so I was interested to see if maybe Hoax Bluff was looking just a little bit ahead to next week, but obviously no. They're taking it one game at a time, and they just, like I said, they just keep rolling.
And speaking of games where business was handled as we expected, Etowah big winner tonight.
Yeah, 54-0. Wow. You know, Etowah, they just keep rolling. Brady Troop, he ended up throwing for 4 touchdowns tonight, 3 in the first quarter alone. And so, you know, Douglas, they didn't have an answer for anything that Etowah was throwing their way. And Etowah they were throwing reserves at Douglas as early as the first quarter.
It's always big to have a game like that. I mean, where you're able to bring in some younger guys that may not get those snaps, and it's good to get those varsity snaps, and it sounds like they were able to probably just about everybody that dressed out. So
yeah, I think maybe even some of the cheerleaders may have dressed. I can't confirm nor deny that just yet.
This definitely would have been an opportunity for them to do so for sure. And, you know, that's big for them, too, ahead of 2 big region games.
Yeah.
Alexandria was a, big loss for them tonight, but still they have to travel to Alexandria, not an easy place to play.
No, not at all.
And they can't look ahead because the week after that they have Boaz, which, depending on how things shake up, now with Southside is right there in the mix for that second spot.
Yeah.
But, Boaz, Etowah, still we've been talking that could be for the region championship. Southside could have something to say about that. It's going to be a very interesting next few weeks of football.
I think Southside got Alexandria at the right time because I really have a feeling that the Valley Cubs were looking ahead.
Yeah.
And they were looking ahead to next week's matchup with their bunch, with who they're playing next week. So when they play Etowah, and so I think Southside caught them at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Were there any more where we were kind of business? Well, like Coosa and Galesville, that was kind of expected.
Coosa Galesville, I think that was pretty well. I think that was a foregone conclusion that Coosa would win that one. 34-6. Dontavius Britton, again, another big night. Another fantastic running back in our area in Northeast Alabama. 11 carries, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Caden Lipscomb, the quarterback for Coosa, finished 7 of 10 for 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. And so Coosa goes to 2-2 in the region, still looking pretty solid as far as earning a playoff berth. So they've just got to keep their head down and keep chopping wood. And speaking of wood, that's who they've got next week. They go to Woodville next week. So another key region game for Coosa Christian.
And one that they can win as well. And they just keep building momentum and keep building momentum. Who knows, by the time you get to that playoff spot, if you're able to get there, maybe they're able to make some noise.
Absolutely. Other game tonight, Westbrook over Gadsden, 48-6. Jackson Cox, quarterback at Westbrook Christian, was 7 of 9 for 106 yards. He also rushed the ball 5 times for 72 yards and 2 more scores for Westbrook. Westbrook jumped out to a 21-0 lead, and Gadsden just could not keep up and catch up. I mean, they were totally out of the game by the end of the first quarter. So
Gadsden's a team that's struggling with injuries a bit, and they're going to be playing at West End next week. Another winless team. They lost to Ramburn tonight. Yeah,
they ran into the Ramburn woodshed, and that woodshed was not kind. 47-19, Ramburn win over West End. So somebody's going to get a win next week. Who it will be? Well, that's another discussion for another time, I think.
Which will be Wednesday night for our Gadsden Times kickoff show, so make sure you join us, and we'll be going over the games like we typically do, and we'll give our predictions. So if you want to see who we got winning that game, join us then.
And I believe we're going live again, are we not?
Yes, we tried it live last week. We did our Gadsden Times kickoff show. Normally we would post it on YouTube, not live, just kind of record it earlier in the day. But last week we started going live. So catch it live on Facebook next week around 8 o'clock or so. And we'll be joining. We hope you join us like you do tonight. And we thank you for joining us. Mr. and Mrs. Ford said, by the way, Coach Mike Robertson celebrated his 150th career win tonight.
Wow.
So,
I did not know that.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
what a night for Coach Rob.
Right. I mean, wow. That's a heck of a night for him.
It's one that he'll definitely never forget.
And I'm
for
sure he's celebrating while he's washing all the uniforms, because, I mean, this cat does everything. So
For sure. Once again, we want to thank Blackstone Pub and Eatery for sponsoring this week's show, located in downtown Gadsden. And let's see, Boaz big winner tonight over Sardis. Did that outcome kind of shock you in terms of the amount that they won by?
Yeah, it really did, because I thought that this game, being so close together and being a rival that they are, I really thought this would be a close game tonight, Teddy. But Boaz just they took care of business. They clinched a playoff spot. They're in the playoffs for the first time since 2014. Christian Collins, wow, what a workhorse. 38 carries, 200 yards, 5 touchdowns tonight.
I feel like the kid, does he get tired?
I don't know.
Because I saw him against Albertville a few weeks ago, and they came out and Louisiana on that one, but they don't. It's not like they even hide it. They just put him back there and they snap the ball to him, and you know it's coming, and you still can't stop them.
Well, that's it. I mean, Boaz, they made it known that they were going to run the football tonight. They ended up finishing with 371 yards rushing tonight. Boaz attempted 1 pass. That was it.
You don't have to pass it when you have a guy like Christian Collins back
No.
there, do you?
And then Briley Ramey, his teammate, ended up finishing with 15 carries for 118 yards and a touchdown. So obviously you're starting to see that it's not just the Christian Collins show when you take on Boaz. Now defenses have to look at Ramey as well as being a weapon. And so that just makes Boaz that much more dangerous.
It's just been tough loss after tough loss after tough loss for the Lions.
Yeah.
That tough loss against Southside early in the season, then they play Etowah and they lose to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're up last week on Alexandria 15-13 at the half and up losing 33-15. It's just been tough for them to pull out that big win.
It really seems like Sardis is kind of in a tailspin.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether they can recover or not. If they were going to recover, it would have been tonight over Boaz. But Boaz has shown that they're able to bounce back from a disappointing loss earlier this season, and so these next couple of weeks for Boaz are going to be very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Brenda said congratulations to Hoax Bluff on their win tonight, and congratulations to Coach Rob. Absolutely. Well deserved, and big win for the Hoax Bluff Eagles. And hey to you, Paisley. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Piedmont, big winner over Glencoe, right?
Yeah. 37-0. Piedmont just took care of business. And, Glencoe, their struggles, offense. Defensively, Glencoe really isn't that bad, but in terms of their offense, when you can't do very much when you're 3 and out.
Right.
So until Glencoe can get some type of offense going, they're going to get shut out. They're going to lose, and Piedmont's just a quality football team. We're going to see them in the playoffs. How deep they go into the playoffs, we'll see. But Piedmont just did what they needed to do. They took care of business, and they took it to the house with a 37-0 win.
Yellow Jackets obviously in a rebuilding type mode, and the thing that makes it so tough for them, they're probably playing the second hardest region schedule in the state.
Without a doubt. I mean, when you've got Randolph County, you've got Piedmont, you've got Sacs, number 1 in the state. So yeah, what a region! Holy cow!
Then you got a team like Weaver that could probably go and at least host a first round in many other regions around the state in 3A. So
Yeah.
it's just a tough region. Glencoe's taking their bumps and bruises, but they're building towards the future. So
Yeah.
that's interesting for them. Well, now it's left to Southside and Gadsden City left. I mean, which one do we start with? 'Cause
Wow.
both of them were great games.
Well, let's go with Southside because you were there tonight, and just obviously Cat Bothwell put on another show tonight, but I don't think it was just him, was it?
No, and actually, funny you mentioned that. Amy Martin commented, "Congrats, Southside Panthers, great win tonight." Her son with 2 interceptions tonight. One of them was huge, and it led to, I think that led to a score that put them up by 2 touchdowns late, and then Southside was able to hold off from there. A big night from Ron Martin, and just the Southside defense as a whole. He had 2 interceptions. Colton Morrison had 1 interception. Jake Blankenship had a fumble recovery. Big old Chance Moon up in the middle of that defensive line. You can't miss on number 50. He had a sack, and Ethan Stevenson with 2 sacks. The defense was all over the field tonight, and the offense took advantage of those opportunities the defense gave them. As you mentioned, Cat Bothwell, 15 carries, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also had a 44-yard touchdown reception.
Yeah.
And that was a key moment in the game because at that point it was 7-7. It was 4th and 9 from Alexandria's 44, and Coach Ron Doherty decides to go for it.
Wow.
And Michael Rich Jr., quarterback, sophomore quarterback for Southside, finds Bothwell going up to the edge of the sideline, right down the middle, and then hits him. And then Cat does what he always does, makes a few guys miss into the end zone. And it was just a really impressive win. Southside looked like the better team tonight. They're coming off that 63-0 win against Douglas, and you got to think that's 98 points in the last 2 weeks. In their first 5 games, they scored 42 points.
Wow.
Sometimes you just got to get momentum and it gets you rolling, and they're rolling at the right time because now they got Boaz next week. I mean, who knows? If they win that game, they're sitting. They're the favorite to win the second seed. In that region.
They're 3-1 in the region right now.
They're 3-4 overall, but all that matters is that they're 3-1 in the region.
Wow. Yeah, that's all that matters, folks. Is winning those region games, and they're sitting pretty, and quite possibly playing for a home playoff game.
Absolutely.
And in terms of in Class 6A, that means a lot in terms of hosting that first round game.
Thank you for joining us, Elizabeth and Cindy. Just talking about Southside's big win over Alexandria. They were also 3 for 3 on 4th downs.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's getting it done. Now you've seen Southside a couple times, Teddy. Are you starting to see, I guess, a progression of this team getting better week to week?
Absolutely. The defense has always been there. I mean, they're always. That's just a typical Southside defense. They're hard-nosed. They're always going to play, and they're tough in the trenches as always. The offense has kind of struggled a bit. Sophomore quarterback, he's getting better week to week. He made some, had some mediocre through tonight, but those are throws that he's going to make over time. And whenever he starts connecting on those deep passes down the field, really watch out. And then I saw a different Cat Bothwell tonight. Always a fantastic running back every week. He kind of ran the ball angry tonight. He was really running the ball tough. You could not bring him down first tackle. Yeah. And he was making folks miss left and right. And he was a big difference, as he always is. He just brings another dimension to that offense. And just an all-around impressive showing. And then I have to give a shout-out to Southside's punter. I want to see Nolan Johnson, I believe. He had a 56-yard punt.
Wow.
And that's a clutch moment because Southside's only up by 1 touchdown at that point.
Yeah.
And it's late in the 4th quarter, and if it's a shank, bad punt, Alexandria's got the ball at midfield. Instead, they got the ball at their own 17. First play, Ryan Martin with the interception, returns it to inside the 10-yard line. Southside punches it in, and they get the win from there. Yeah. So all 3 phases, Southside was sound tonight, and that was big. Anytime
you can flip the field on a team, it doesn't matter who you are. If you can flip the field on them, then you have given your defense a chance. And that's all they're asking for. Just give us a chance.
And Southside, I mean, they were making plays all night long, like I said, for turnovers. And they were just giving the offense a chance, and the offense took advantage. That was the difference.
Yeah.
Southside's offense started playing like they can. Yeah. And if they do that next week at Boaz, that's going to be a very fun game.
Yeah, it should be. I'm not going to poo-poo on Southside's win over Alexandria, but I really have a feeling that Alexandria came into tonight's game thinking, we've got this in the bag. We've got to get ready for Etowah next week, And I have a feeling that Etowah, they were playing with Etowah on the brain. Meanwhile, Southside was, we've got the Valley Cubs.
Right.
And I think we've got them right where we want them too. And so, shout out to Southside. They took care of business. And
they kept on building on that momentum that they got last week. And like I said, you keep building that momentum, keep building on it, and they're doing it at the right time. Who knows what can happen next week against Boaz?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll talk about that, in a couple days. It's going to be a huge game, and if you have nothing to do on a Friday night, I would suggest you need to be in Boaz next week, because that is going to be a huge game. We've got huge games practically all over the area next week. Just a taste of what games are coming up next week. Coosa Christian's at Woodville. Etowah is at Alexandria. Gadsden City's at Huntsville. Gadsden's at West End. Glencoe's hosting Weaver. Hoax Bluff at Cherokee County. Sardis at Crossville. Southside at Boaz. Westbrook is hosting Woodland. Albertville's hosting Mae Jemison. Cedar Bluff hosting Eider. Collinsville's at Sandrock. Fort Payne at Hazel Green. That one is going to be a big one, Teddy. They're outside of our area. Fort Payne is playing really good football right now. 17-0 win over Buckhorn tonight. Playing against Smitty Grider Hazel Green team. I'm telling you, Hazel Green is going to make some noise as long as Smitty Grider is coach at Hazel Green. That is going to be a war outside of our area. However, Etowah, Alexandria, and then of course, Southside Boaz, those two are going to be tremendous ball games that we'll be covering. And be sure to check us out on our website tonight. We've already got some photo galleries up. We've got game stories up, video. Go to thegadsdentimes.com, check it out, and there'll be some more goodies up there a little bit later on this evening as well. The big game tonight, Gadsden City 31, Florence 24. Gadsden City down 21-0.
How about those Titans?
Wow. I mean, that's a heck of a bounce back right there.
I was reading Michael Rogers, one of our reporters, was there tonight, and I read Bart Sessions' quote.
Yeah.
Said that the players saw this, fans leaving the stadium. They saw that. They've been hearing all the noise.
Sure.
How about those kids to fight back from 21-0? You're 0-6.
Yeah.
I mean, your playoff chances are still there, but at that point you're down 21-0. You could fold, but they keep fighting. That says a lot about that football team.
That really does. I mean, big shout out to the guys. I mean, like you said, you haven't won a game. You're down 21-0. I mean, mentally you're about ready to take it to the house.
Yeah.
And they don't quit. But that's Gadsden City. Mm-hmm. I've seen this in the years that I've been here. Is that is typically a Gadsden City style football team. They do not quit on themselves.
A lot of, when you go to their games, sometimes the stands is not as crowded as they would like it to be.
Yeah.
Fans are leaving early.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as long as your teammates got your back,
that's right.
It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter what we say.
No.
It just matters what they think. And obviously tonight, they still got each other's backs.
Yeah.
And although they waited till week 7 to get that first win, they're still alive for that playoff spot.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, you got to look. They have Huntsville left and they have Grissom.
Yeah.
Those are two very winnable games.
Those are two very winnable games. Absolutely. Down 21-0, then all of a sudden, lightning just strikes. A 52-yard touchdown pass from DeMarcus Macon to Trey Blunt. That draws them 24-21, and that was pretty deep into the third quarter. Then the next thing you know, Jamari Boston with a scoop and score to put Gadsden City up 28-24, and turn out the lights, baby. It's over. Gadsden City, all they got to do is they tack on a field goal late and hold off Florence. And like I said, a huge, huge region win for Gadsden City.
Big win. Stacy said congratulations to Gadsden City. Absolutely. Big first win. couldn't come at a better time.
No.
And, I mean, who would have thought after this week Gadsden City still got a shot to make the playoffs?
Yeah. They go to Huntsville next week. Like I said, that's a very winnable game. And then, the week after that, you've got they'll play Grissom on the 25th, and so which will be a Thursday night game. So, folks in Gadsden, you need to get behind your team. This is your team, and you need to tell them how proud you are, especially coming back from being down 21-0. That's that right there says a lot about heart. That says a lot about a time when you have a gut check, and that gut check was answered tonight.
I can't say it enough. It's just impressive. They had every reason to fold if they decided to, and they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Congrats to the Titans on getting their first win tonight.
Absolutely. Just quickly, before we close it out, just scores from tonight. Coosa, a winner over Galesville. Ramburn over West End. Gadsden falls to Westbrook 48-0. Again, like I said, Southside, a huge win over Alexandria 35-14. Boaz over Sardis 42-14. Hoax Bluff taking care of business 49-10 over Cleburne County. Piedmont 37-0 over Glencoe. Gadsden City, huge win tonight, 31-24 over Florence. And then Etowah over Douglas 54-0. Next week, things get much more we just ratcheted up another notch. We go into week 8 and another huge games coming up. Etowah at Alexandria. Let's just call it what it is. Gadsden City at Huntsville, must-win game. If they want to still have a chance for a playoff berth, they've got to win that game. And then you got Southside at Boaz. Big games. And, hey, it's football weather, man.
Yes, it is. That's why you see me wearing this long-sleeve shirt tonight, because I knew it was going to be cold, and it felt good tonight. It wasn't really cold. It was just a perfect weather for football, and just a great night of football all the way around.
Yeah. Northeast Alabama, we've seen some tremendous football played so far, and we've also seen some tremendous teams. You've got Etowah, number 2 in the state. You've got Hoax Bluff, number 2 in the state. They are in your backyard. If you have not caught any of these teams in and around this area on a Friday night, you're missing out. You need to be there. You need to see these kids play because they are laying it out on the line, and they are making a statement not just for their school but also for Etowah County. To have 2 number 2 teams, arguably 2 of the top teams in the state in this county alone, that says a lot.
Absolutely. And then another game, it's between 2 winless teams in Gadsden at West End, but somebody's guaranteed to get that first win next week.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that one turns out.
Folks, we're going to wrap it up. We want to thank Blackstone Pub and Eatery for being a sponsor tonight. And again, go to thegadsdentimes.com, check out all the game stories, photo galleries, videos. We'll be back with you guys Wednesday night live on Facebook. So we thank you for your time, and we're out.